Greetings and salutations, fellow disenfranchised 90s kids. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by the boy.
Hey.
This is the Two Nerds Podcast. Before we get into all that nitty-gritty shitty that you are committee to, I tried on that one, thank you. There's a little scrolly text at the bottom of the screen that's talking about stuff that's in a link tree in the description. If you click that, you go there, you buy my books, you read my books, you tell me how you feel about my books. Tell the world, write Amazon reviews. I'd appreciate that. We've got a Patreon as well. For $1 a month, you become cool. Much like Passion Killer 711, a guy from Ohio, and Rob. And for $5 a month, you get episodes of Journey of Wrestling a week early. That's pretty neat.
That's primo.
That's the journey that we all want to be on as fans.
So yeah, we're doing another tier list. This one's a pretty good one that White found. There might be some disagreement here between the two of us.
I mean, more than likely, I just didn't fucking watch stuff. But yeah, so I've zoomed in the screen per request so that you're getting a little bit more of, less negative space. But my dumb ass often forgets to scroll down and reference what's up next, so I'm going to try to pay attention to that. Forgive me if I don't, and eventually that heater's going to kick on. I don't know if you guys hear it or not. Let me know in the comments. Let's just get this out of the way real quick.
Yeah, Batman the Animated Series is S tier. It's going to end up at the top of S tier. Starting with this feels like, I don't know, anticlimactic.
No, it's nice. It's nice to get that out of the way and not have to think about it.
Yeah. Top of S tier, good. Cut, print, move on.
This is not because of recent grief or anything. We went back and rewatched it, and while we appreciate it from a different light, it's still really good.
It's still really good, you guys.
Yeah, that's going to be the interesting thing about this as well, because there's a lot of cartoons on here I haven't seen since I was, maybe 14 at most.
Oh, God, yeah, same.
There's some I tried to watch recently, and the magic is gone.
Well, note where appropriate.
Yeah. So Batman Beyond is our next quantifiable.
Yes, with Terrell McGinnis.
Yeah.
That is a joke. I do actually know his name is Terry.
Maguire, right?
So me wants to be like, oh yeah, S tier. No, this is a fine show. It's a good Spider-Man. All Spider-Men are good. It's a good show. I would say mid B tier. Like, it never blew my socks off, but it was fun.
I'll acquiesce to that. Next we have Superman.
Superman is compared to Superman in the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, Superman is it's a very simple show.
It's really dry. I tried to get into it, and this was a lot of the genesis of me not being a fan of Superman for a long time. I was bored to tears half the time.
It's the magic that appears in the DCAU in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited isn't quite all the way there in Superman. I would say low B or high C tier. It's still a pretty good show, but it's not amazing.
I'm going to disagree with the B. I'll plop that Superboy in C there.
That's fair.
Spider-Man.
This is the 90s Spider-Man, yeah?
Maybe not.
That looks weird for the 90s Spider-Man.
This looks like the original Spider-Man.
Yeah, that doesn't look like the 90s cartoon. The font's wrong. The Spider-Man on the back is wrong.
But let's look at... This is the only other Spider-Man, I believe. And that's Spider-Man
Ultimate
Unlimited.
Spider-Man.
That's way different.
Yeah, no. And there's no other Spiders-Men down here, right?
I don't think there is. We can always move him later.
All right, then this is... What's the name of this?
Let's assume this is Spider-Man. The 90s cartoon Spider-Man. This is a 90s cartoon tier list.
With radioactive spider blood?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they just chose a weird picture. Yeah, I'm for it. Spider-Man should be above Batman Beyond minimum. Okay. I would not say no to A tier. Spider-Man was a fucking great show. I don't think I could rewatch it because someone pointed out to me at some point that he never punches anybody in that show.
It's a little schlocky also. I tried to rewatch it some 10 years ago. I'll say A. It might end up low A, but I'm fine.
We might end up lowering it down, too.
Do you know what Spider-Man Unlimited is?
Yes, I do, actually. I watched Spider-Man Unlimited. It is fine. It doesn't have the same magic as Spider-Man for me. It's a good premise. It is not Ultimate Spider-Man. It is like Spider-Man 2099, sort of.
But not as good.
Right, because the outfit isn't as good. I would put that down with Superman. And C tier it's not bad, so I wouldn't say D tier.
Okay. Do you
But
think
like
it's
low C.
low, so not as good as Superman?
No.
I can't speak to where Iron Man belongs in the pantheon here, compared to Spider-Man, but what little I've seen of this show, it wasn't good.
No, it wasn't. I watched a bunch of this. It was bad, even when I was a kid. It just was, it was another superhero show, so I probably watched it. I would say firmly D tier.
Firmly D tier, I'm fine with that. Also, shout out to Christoph Law 1 for making this tier list and already including an F tier and a never seen tier. Thank you.
And also putting together a good fucking roster of stuff here.
I'd have to say X-Men would belong right there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't think it's quite... I don't know if anything is going to touch Batman the Animated Series.
No, I mean, there might end up being other stuff in S tier.
Sure.
But certainly nothing's going to unseat it. I think X-Men the Animated Series belongs in A tier, definitely. Mm-hmm. It's very formative for me.
I've watched it in the last 10 years, and it's still pretty good.
It's not, like, amazing, but it holds up pretty well.
The Hulk had his own series, apparently.
Yeah, I'd never fucking seen this.
Okay.
This must not have been somewhere I was on.
Fantastic Four, did you watch theirs?
The cartoon, yeah. God, I have almost no memories of this, but I don't have any bad memories either. I'm going to say default it to C tier.
Okay.
It's just, I barely remember watching this, but I do remember watching it.
Just put it right there, it's fine. What about Silver Surfer?
Silver Surfer was weird. Norrin Rad, and I think it might be the first, like... kids superhero show where the main character has clinical depression. He's so fucking sad all the time in this show. It's a middle of the road, C tier.
Okay.
Fucking nothing special about it, but like
we remember it more than Fantastic Four, you're saying. So.
Oh, absolutely, by leaps and bounds.
The 90s Todd McFarlane Spawn series.
I never actually saw this.
No, because you would have been, you had a different childhood for me,
yeah.
So it was entirely possible you could have seen it, but I was too young for this when it came out. I've seen bits and pieces of it. It's fine. I would maybe put it above Batman Beyond.
Sounds fine to me.
Wildcats, Covert Action Teams. That's what CAT stands for.
Those people are Youngbloods.
Yeah,
disease.
those look like Youngbloods.
No, that's literally Image Comics right there.
I don't remember ever seeing this. Did you?
No, Lord, no.
Savage Dragon.
That's a cool fucking name.
Are you not familiar with Savage Dragon?
No, I think I recognize him, but I've definitely never seen this cartoon.
It was okay. It was probably better than Iron Man. I have to assume Spider-Man was better. I caught a few episodes of it. Ultra Force. No idea what this is.
I've never seen this in my life.
These look like similar enough to characters that I do know that I'm like, wait, no.
I don't know what the fuck this is. Okay.
Seems worth looking into. Never saw that shit. Aeon Flux.
Now this I've seen because I was 12 years old at one point.
And that's when you have an interest in like really bizarre animation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Aeon Flux is fucking weird.
Oh yeah.
It is a genuinely strange cartoon. If memory serves, like, she's in a relationship with the big bad.
So the narrative was never clear. Like, every episode was basically, if you will, an alternate timeline unto itself. So, like, sometimes she was in a relationship with this guy. The next episode, she wouldn't be. And there was, like, no context for whether they ever were in the first place or not.
Yeah, it's a weird fucking show. I honestly
show.
have trouble rating it. I don't think it was very good, but it was so unique that I have trouble putting it low.
I remember when I watched it, I was in my teens, and I didn't think it was, like, great, but what it did artistically and creatively was really, really compelling. It was like an American answer to anime, really, without actually being anime. I would say maybe above Superman.
Look, I'm not gonna look it ending up in C tier by the combination of being so fucking out there, but also kind of bad on its own, and thus ending up equalizing out at C is perfectly reasonable for me.
Now the next one is The Max, which I maybe saw an episode of.
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
And I've heard it's great, but I haven't seen enough to really rate it. Same thing for Phantom 2049 or something.
It's a Phantom. It's the Phantom,
yeah, it's the
right?
Phantom, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen this.
Yeah, I don't think
if I have, my brain wants to be constructing memories of having seen this, but I'm pretty sure those are fake.
I've seen the box art for the video game version. And I remember Billy Zane was in a Phantom movie, but I don't think it was in the future. Captain Planet and the Planeteers.
Man, that show's bad.
Is it bad?
It's bad.
I don't know if I'd go as far as bad.
I love it. I do. I have a special place in my heart for the Planeteers. I make jokes about Wheeler and Mati, and I can name the characters. I've seen a bunch of episodes. They were turns out weirdly prescient about a certain section of very rich people seemingly just wanting to light the planet on fire because it brings them sexual joy. But like at the end of the day, it was bad. It was hammy and poorly acted and really preachy.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. Although it was being preachy about like being environmentally responsible, not about like some sort of moral imperative. In a very direct way, like, look at this toxic waste. Don't put that in the river where we drink from, moron.
It was preachy about something that maybe should be preached about, but
well, where would you put it? Let's start with that, and I'll argue from there.
I would put it in high D tier above Iron Man.
High D tier, okay.
Because I do love it, even though I'm aware it wasn't good.
Well, let me barrack for above Fantastic Four because we remember it.
You know what? On the merits of being memorable, I would say okay.
Okay. You think above Silver Surfer or?
Well, what's better? Unbelievably creepily chipper or just literally depressed?
I don't know. I've not seen Silver Surfer. It could be really compelling.
It was compelling. He was just sad.
You know what? I'm going to give Norin the benefit of the doubt. The Simpsons. What a difficult one to rate.
We're doing 90s Simpsons. This is a 90s cartoon.
Okay.
We're not doing an extra fucking 22 years of Simpsons.
I'm going to have to say solidly that.
Yeah, if we're sticking to just 90s Simpsons, if just before the Simpsons crash, S tier. And look, I'm not the Simpsons equivalent of a Gen 1er. A lot of people are. Lots of more modern Simpsons episodes are really funny and really good.
It is also just when I stopped watching.
But, like, in the peak, it's so good, it's still cultural zeitgeist. The 90s Simpsons was so good, it's the reason the Simpsons is still around.
Yeah, that is absolutely fair. Family Guy.
Again, we're doing, because I didn't even know Family Guy was, on maybe, 1999.
Yeah, some of these kind of press
season
the
1. Concept.
But then we also have, I think fucking Woody Woodpecker down here somewhere, and I don't think he had a 90s show. I think those were reruns, but...
So if we're just counting, early Family Guy, this is where I am the opposite of The Simpsons. I think some of the later seasons of Family Guy are way funnier.
I have been cursed. I did this to myself. It is a vicious cycle. I'm glad I get to talk about it because I only just discovered it recently. I accidentally clicked on too many Family Guy clips on Instagram, and now Instagram keeps feeding them to me.
Yeah.
And I keep seeing them going,
you're in the vortex now, motherfucker. Yeah. There's no escape.
And I just keep doing it, though. And I watch them, and I'm like, man, that's not funny. I thought I liked this show. And I keep seeing more. And it's not just it's from later seasons, so the humor's changed and they're flanderized. No, they're clips that I knew before, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think I care for this.
Yeah, that's how you moved. The Family
absolutely.
Guy didn't move.
Absolutely.
You moved.
Solidly Family Guy.
Where would you put it? Because I honestly think some of the later seasons of Family Guy are much funnier. Because they turned into the skid. They became the thing that people mocked, and in so doing, reclaimed their power.
I'm gonna barrack for right between these guys.
I'd actually say probably
not even as good as the show we don't remember.
I mean, bad memories aren't necessarily better than no memories.
Yeah. What about in comparison to Ultimate, whatever, Umpire Spider-Man?
I'd say below Fantastic Four is fine.
Okay, all right.
Like, still C tier, but not its final form yet.
90s Futurama.
I really like Futurama. I'd say B tier minimum.
Yeah, I'm gonna say top of B. If we feel like moving it later, I'm up. I'm okay with that.
That's fine by me.
Beavis and Butthead.
Beavis and Butthead is very formative for me. I watched it when I was really little because I didn't have a lot of parental supervision. But it's like, I wouldn't even say it's intended to be like a cartoon.
Well, so there's a lot of adult animation on here as well.
Well, I mean, more it's a vehicle for music videos.
I mean, there were plots.
Yeah, but they were. It's one step up from an interstitial in a different network. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I understand entirely.
As a show in of itself, if we're not taking into account the music videos, which honestly I don't feel is very fair. That's not the work of the people who made Beavis and Butthead. I would have trouble rating it in C tier by itself without the thing that makes it good to watch.
I wanted to be a little more charitable toward it, but you're not making me. So yeah, there we go.
And then of course there is another S tier.
Let's watch.
I would say number
one.
2 S tier.
Absolutely.
There we go.
No, there you go.
That's
King
right.
of the Hill.
King of the Hill fucking rules. King of the Hill is amazing. It is a great TV show. I have watched the entirety of it multiple times. It's a great TV show.
Yeah.
Peggy Hill is a demon, but the show wouldn't be the same without her. So
I really am looking forward to the next time I rewatch it to sort of try to put myself in Peggy's shoes more and maybe try to understand her character. See if there's something there that I missed in all the obvious offal. Next up, speaking of obvious offal, South Park.
Now, South Park is what Beavis and Butthead wishes it was.
I would agree with that. I fell off pretty hard, and I don't think every episode even hit back then.
No, certainly not.
But like the important episodes of South Park were 1,000 times more important than the most important episodes of Family Guy.
Yes, agreed.
Or, I mean, one might argue even like The Simpsons and stuff. But it was brought down by a lot of stuff. It was brought down by a lot of the culture. It was so dominant at the time that it got a little overplayed, if you will. Now, we are only taking 90s South Park into account. So that is honestly kind of like the Family Guy situation, at least in my opinion, cutting off a lot of the better stuff.
Yeah, it's an arc for South Park for me. Like, the early South Park was mid. Current South Park is mid. But in the middle, there's some power. Sadly, all that shit was in the mid-2000s.
Early South Park was very much like early Insane Clown Posse. It is there. It is similar. I don't know that you need to observe it.
It's fine.
Yeah. So what do you think?
I'd say just on the weight of how good it was when it did hit, I would put it in B tier.
B tier. Do you think above Futurama or below?
Below.
Below. Okay.
I had more fun watching Futurama.
Yeah, Futurama I think is a tighter show in that era. I don't like Futurama anymore. Comment away. Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
I've seen maybe I've seen Space Ghost Coast to Coast, but this is not this is not me. This is you.
Okay.
You where should Space Ghost go?
I'm dropping him in A.
You like you some Coast to Coast?
It's really good, punchy dialogue. I love absurdist humor, and there was a lot of that. And the basic concept, we hadn't tread much. Reusing old characters in animation to make a new show out of context of the original, like, cells and shit, really inspired. Some of the celebrity guests on there were really fun, and then towards the end it started to create its own, like, cosmology and sprung off into a bunch of different things. So, honestly, without Space Ghost Coast to Coast, we wouldn't have Adult Swim, period.
Shit, yeah, you got me there.
So... I don't know what incarnation of Bugs and Daffy this is.
I think this is just general
There's a little man on him.
I would say general Looney Tunes. There's some other Looney Tunes properties after this.
Yeah.
I would say just general Looney Tunes. Was there a Looney Tunes going on in the 90s? Or it was just reruns, wasn't it? It was just... It was just syndication from the 70s.
I don't know about Bugs and Daffy, right? I feel like that was a show on the WB, but I don't remember if it was just reruns or not. If it wasn't, it was very similar style.
It was on model. It was Looney Tunes.
It wasn't like the Looney Tunes series from the 2010s.
Where shit got weird and different.
It was different. It was more of a sitcom with rap interstitials. But, let's take your suggestion on the way to the Looney Tunes, because they did do a lot of reruns in the 90s on Nickelodeon and stuff. I want to say this is a show that's actually better than I remember it being. Because I remember being kind of bored by the Looney Tunes when I was a kid. Not like a lot, but like a little like, this is fine.
Yeah.
But
as you have aged, your tastes have improved, and you can recognize how good those were.
I can understand subtle comedy a little bit better, and there was a lot of subtle comedy amid the exploding cigars and what have you.
Yeah. B?
Yeah, B. I'm trying to figure out where in B. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't think top of B, but
No.
I feel like putting it above South Park feels right.
That's about exactly what I was thinking. So, Tasmania.
Never seen it. No idea what that is.
It's wow. What a fever dream of a TV show. It's a sitcom about Taz
Sounds fucking exciting.
and his family and some other original characters in Australia. It was okay. Probably right around Captain Planet, you know. I have fonder memories of Captain Planet. Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries.
No idea.
Yeah, this was.
I think I've seen an episode of this, and it made no impression on my cerebral cortex.
It was boring. It wasn't quite bad. I'm gonna say D. But it was pretty boring. It was just Granny was solving mysteries. Sylvester, Tweety, and the dog whose name I can't remember. I want to say Ralph, maybe.
Okay.
Helped her out, but not directly. I just didn't care. I was bored to tears when it was on. Tiny Toon Adventures.
Fucking excellent. I have not rewatched this.
And so
this
you can continue
might
to say that.
Not hold up at all.
Well, and that's the thing I kind of find interesting, actually. I sort of dimly want to revisit Tiny Toon Adventures because I tried to. I didn't care for it. But there's like 3 different production companies, at least, that were responsible for making episodes.
And you don't know if you got the Bad Batch?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe they're all bad, maybe they're all good. I don't know. But
I remember this being very cool, very fun and good, but like I would totally understand if it ended up actually being garbage.
It's tough to say. I like the characters a lot, and there are some episodes that do stick in my head as being really fun. Where does your heart want to put it?
My heart wants to put it either bottom of B tier or top of C tier, just because I can't trust it.
I feel that. Let's put bottom of B. We can always move it later. A pup named Scooby-Doo.
Actively terrible.
Really?
Like I watched a lot of this.
I did too.
In some sort of trance.
Like the way I end up watching SpongeBob.
But I don't think I liked a single episode of A Pup Named Scooby-Doo.
Wow.
I liked one part of A Pup Named Scooby-Doo, one joke, and that was Red Herring, which is, to be fair, one of the funniest fucking jokes in cartoon history.
I always kind of enjoyed it. So I guess let's slap it and see.
Yeah.
It certainly wasn't depressing.
I'm not mad at it. I just didn't like it.
Fair enough. Animaniacs.
I would say A tier.
Yeah. I kind of want to put it below Space Ghost.
Wait, why are Pinky and the Brain separate?
They...
Did they get their own show?
Sort of, yeah.
I remember them as being part of the anime.
They started there. I don't remember if their own show was like just the Pinky and the Brain segments in their own block, or if they started writing new episodes. I was a little old at that point.
I must have been as well. Yeah. We're watching something else. All right, so then do we take the quality of Animaniacs minus Pinky and the Brain and like just silo that off since it has its own program?
Oh, absolutely. And that's actually something...
Then I don't know that Animaniacs is A tier by itself. I don't know that Pinky and the Brain is A tier by itself. I think splitting those two up is a disservice to both properties.
In watching the new Animaniacs, I've only seen the first season of the reboot. I haven't sat down to watch the second one yet. I got so tired of the fucking Pinky and the Brain segments. They just were like too much and too...
Well, without Orson Welles, man, half the gold is gone.
Well, I mean, it wasn't actually Orson Welles.
No,
it was
I know.
Maurice LaMarche. Just making sure. God, now I'm remembering him talking about those peas. Oh, Jesus. I like Pinky and the Brain. They had good bits. I just didn't really like it in the reboot very much. And it was like half the fucking episode. The Animaniacs were doing better comedy. So I wonder if in the past, but Pinky and the Brain was such a...
It's the breakout star.
Yeah, it was so powerful that it launched its own series.
It's the one who got over in the stable.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I think I'd put them above Tiny Toons.
I'm absolutely fine with that.
What do you think? Honestly...
I would say mid-B. I like the Animaniacs. I remember a lot of the Animaniacs from when I was a kid.
Yeah. Where do you think in relation to South Park and Looney Tunes?
Somewhere in there. In between the two, just below them, just above them. It's too close to call for me.
Okay. You know what? Let's just put them in there. We'll give Pinky and the Brain their due. Again, this is the 90s version. I'm not worried about...
the reboot, yeah. All right, so here's another one that there might be some disagreement.
Okay.
Because where do you want to put fucking Freakazoid?
I want to drop that motherfucker right next to you so bad. Oh, man, just watching a compilation of that shit earlier this year, I was like, I need to watch that whole series again. It was so ahead of its time. And the voice actor for Freakazoid, whose name escapes me at the moment, didn't do a lot of other work, and he's so good. Like, I mean, not at, like, delivering pathos, but as a comedic voice actor, just really great range and fun shit. I take it you hate it?
I don't hate Freakazoid. I just think Freakazoid is aggressively mid.
Wow.
Wow. We have had this discussion several times.
I always erase it from my memory because I want to continue to like you.
Like, the funny parts of Freakazoid are very funny. The problem is, when it misses... It's not like the dart didn't quite hit the bullseye. It's more like the dart flew across the room and hit your grandma in the fucking eye, and now ocular fluid is leaking down her face. Isn't it funny? Like, it's
a little bit.
It's when it misses, it shits the bed.
I don't feel like that was the case, but all right.
To be fair, I haven't seen it in many years.
Sure.
Look, at the end of the day, I wanted that on record, but I'm not going to stop your shine.
Well, no, that's fine. This is a group podcast. Where would you want to put Freakazoid?
Let's put it in S tier, because I don't feel like I am the one who needs to be making that call.
I want to let's aggregate here. Where would you be putting it?
I would be putting it like low B, high C.
Low B, high C. Okay, I'm comfortable with dropping it in.
I would say let's do A. That's a good compromise.
You think A?
Yeah, that's a good compromise.
Futurama? Okay. It's probably better than Spider-Man.
There you go.
Earthworm Jim.
Don't remember it. Remember the video game.
Yeah.
Don't remember the cartoon.
It was not as good Freakazoid.
So below Freakazoid then.
Yeah, I would say... I don't even know if it was as good as Superman. I would say right about here in C tier.
Okay.
And then the Tick, which is also not as good Freakazoid, but was definitely better than Earthworm Jim. Have you seen the Tick?
I have seen the Tick. I liked the Tick. It missed less. It didn't hit as hard.
It didn't try as hard.
Yes.
The Tick was trying to just get a central vibe across and never really tried to get into any other lane.
I would put it below Freakazoid just because it's never as funny, but it also never actively pissed me off enough that I changed the channel. As a kid.
I'm gonna put it. I know how much you love Terrelled, so we'll put it right there in B tier after Batman 2.
Sounds good.
I believe this is Reboot.
Is that fucking Reboot? That's Reboot, all right.
Yeah, it looks like...
That's Reboot as fuck. Man, all right, so...
This is why I was nice about Freakazoid.
Yeah, okay. That's... You know what? That's... This is the reverse Freakazoid, isn't it?
No, I don't think I hated Reboot ever. It just...
It's mid, right?
Well, I was about to say, I don't think I hated Reboot ever. I just didn't like the characters or most of the premise and the graphics or the voice acting. Other than that, it was fine.
If somehow this makes it into the algorithm for folks who make the YouTube channel Overly Sarcastic Productions, I want you to know that I understand. I know. But I'm not about... I'm not strong enough to fight this fight. I will say, how's about a healthy B?
Healthy B? Okay. Where do you think in B? Choose carefully. I'm absolutely kidding. I don't have any strong clues.
I think above Tiny Toons.
Above Tiny Toons?
Yeah.
Do you think it was better than The Tick?
No, not really.
All right. Beast Machines?
Oh, fucking... Yeah, no, Z tier.
Z tier?
F tier is fine.
Okay, I never saw this. So.
It's fucking awful.
Now, Beast Wars.
Beast Wars B or maybe A.
Okay. I've seen of Beast Wars I really liked. Better than Spider-Man?
Bottom of A.
Bottom of A.
Yeah.
I've only seen maybe 5 episodes, but I really liked it.
Beast Wars fucking ruled. Beast Machines is the sequel to Beast Wars, and it ruined it. Like, it actively was terrible.
Okay. Two Stupid Dogs.
Never seen it. Kept seeing commercial. I remember seeing, like, up next, Two Stupid Dogs, and then I would turn the channel off.
It was, I don't know if I'd like it today, but I did like it back then. It had a nice skit style. You know, it was sort of like Animaniacs in that way, where it wasn't just one full episode usually. They presented a couple of ideas. The dogs are fucking morons. There's a guy who yells at them a lot. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't hate it. Maybe here-ish?
I have never seen it, so it's up to you. Now, hold your horses. Hold your phones. Do we have enough for an episode 2?
Do we have enough for an episode 2? We're sitting at a solid half hour. I think we've got enough for an episode 2, my guy.
And we'll catch you next time.